Hi, my name's Bill Mackenzie. I'm a research principal at Chartis Research, covering the financial crime area. I think the biggest trend we're seeing in fin crime right now is the expansion of platforms to encompass wider orchestration and perpetual KYC. I think we're seeing these solutions both ingesting and processing a wider variety of data, and they're not only doing it from a singular onboarding perspective, but they're continuously monitoring it throughout the customer lifecycle. So I think what's driving this trend is the same thing that's been driving, at the core, it's the same thing that's been driving a lot of the trends over the last decade, I think, in financial crime, which is cost savings. Banks and financial institutions have realized that they have extremely expensive compliance departments, and they're looking at ways of delivering benefits from it rather than it just being a cost center. So, and this has sort of happened at the same time as the amount of data that they need to process has increased massively. So they're now ingesting corporate registries, sanctions, adverse media, open source information, and this changes, dramatically dependent on which part of the world they're in and what the data landscape looks like. Meanwhile, the orchestration and workflow technologies, and now most significantly things like AI, have increased the ability to process this. So essentially, institutions are now looking at being able to have validated, clean sources of information about each of the entities that they interact with, that they can reach out to and analyze at any point. They can say, it's not simply that we've analyzed it when we onboarded it, but we're looking at it all the time. And this has downstream benefits, not just for financial crime, but as they can find synergies with how these institutions and these corporate entities look like in different parts of the business. A risky entity in financial crime from a complex corporate perspective doesn't look all that different from a risky entity from a fraud or credit perspective. Your risk of crime or risk of default can be quite correlated with your sanctions risk. So I think overall it's a cost driver, but we're definitely seeing that the sort of technology is rising to meet the challenge. So how do I think the trend is going to evolve? Well, I think obviously the main thing we need to keep an eye on is the AI space. I think this really determines how much we'll see the technology in this space evolving, as we've definitely seen almost all the vendors that we look at, looking very carefully at how they're going to be building out their AI strategies. So from a singular perpetual KYC orchestration platform perspective, there's a number of ways in which they can do this. You can firstly, I think that the primary key is that you need is that people will need flexible kind of automatable workflows in order to be able to adequately kind of pass data back and forth, to be able to retrieve information quickly. Secondly, I think they'll be looking at building out, very specific types of models, potentially agentic, but, using different tools for different purposes to make for different parts of the workflow. So, if you're looking at document summarization or chatbots, you might be looking at large language models. If you're looking at risk scoring, you might want to look at more traditional machine learning methodologies. But in general, I think we are looking at kind of more performant technology, more performant platforms with lighter touch workflows that we are increasingly expecting will be enhanced by, I think multiple different types of AI. And I think even subsections of those types of AIs as things like LLMs and agentic AI become more defined and built out for given problems. To learn more about this and many other trends which are impacting the risk management landscape, please join the RiskTech 100 2026 on October 21st to 23rd.